You can see that, see the images just before there of people filing out of my apartment building en masse. Guess you're wondering why are they doing that? Simple answer is that that's Sunday morning, a little after 6 o'clock, and the fire alarm has been kicked off. So everybody has had to evacuate from my building and go downstairs outside and wait for the all clear from the fire brigade, who hopefully will show up fairly promptly. They usually do in about 5 minutes. It's just one of those little irritations of living in the city that I wasn't aware of when I first bought my apartment over a decade ago. It was a good move lifestyle wise. I certainly improved my finances. I got rid of my mortgage, bought the apartment outright, and was able to rent the apartment out as I travelled overseas extensively for almost 6 months of the year for several years after first moving in. So that was great. But there, you know, as I say, there are downsides, and this is one of my major irritants because it just continually occurs. Every month someone sets off the fire alarm, and I would think that in nearly every case it's the same scenario. They're cooking in their apartments, they get too much smoke from the cooking, and they decide to vent the smoke. So where do they vent it? They open the apartment door and vent it into the corridor, where super sensitive fire alarm sensors are placed, and it takes very little to send them off, and then we all have to evacuate as the alarm is sounded. It's a real pain in the butt, and it happens at least once a month, and I wish someone would learn not to do it. There's a huge fine involved for the people who actually perpetrate it. It's $1,500, but I'm wondering how many of these people actually do get hit with that particular fine. But not only did we have to do that on Sunday, I got the double whammy this week. The following day, at about the same time, it happened again. So we had to evacuate just after 6 a.m. in 2 days in a row. And I mean, I was fed up. Of course, I contacted our building management to complain about it, and all they could say is we can basically send out circulars to people moving into the apartments to say, look, you know, you need to basically make sure you don't vent fumes out into the corridor to prevent this occurring. It's a sort of more of a wider problem with our modern society though. You know, I'm in Australia and we are so risk averse these days. Now, as you can see from the footage, there's a number of appliances, as they call them, fire engines, were called out. Quite a bit of manpower. What if there'd been an emergency and someone died in a real fire? You know, does anybody think about that? But you know, alarms just keep going off around the city all the time. There's so many false alarms, and I would suspect that 99% of the calls are false, just going on my own experience. I mean, I have nothing to really back that apart from anecdotal hunch, but that's what I think. It's just crazy what's going on in this country. The waste of resources because of that. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, you can obviously try to educate the residents not to do stupid things like open their door and vent their fumes out into the corridor. That's one solution. But coming back, maybe we need to dial back the sensitivity of the alarms as well, because they seem to go off very easily. And look, I've lived in Southeast Asia in tall buildings. I have never seen a fire. And I've been there for a number of years, and it's just, they just don't seem to have this ridiculous obsession with risk aversion. I mean, sure, it's a good thing to play things safe, but I just think we've taken it too far. And I think it's actually hurting our economy because it's created a whole OH&S, occupational health and safety industry, which is raking in billions and holding back our industry and our standard of living. So, you know, I think there are consequences to all this, but on my own personal level, it's just a pain in the arse that I have to evacuate the building on a monthly basis for what I know is a false alarm. And of course, that's the other problem. Everybody now knows it's a false alarm. When you cry wolf enough, people get very cynical, and they do one or two things. They're very tardy at leaving the building, and I'm one of those. Or they just don't bother. They don't bother responding. They just stay in their apartment throughout the whole time, and say stuff it. So you know, personally, I think we've got a lot of work to do in this country to maybe, you know, wind this back a little bit and get a bit of common sense back into our society. That is sorely lacking. So that's my rave for the day, my gripe, and I just pray that I don't have to go and evacuate the building again in the next few weeks or a month. I hope I get a break from it. That's probably one of the other reasons why I love travelling overseas. I get away from all this crap that we have to endure in the West like this. Anyway, that's my rave for the day. I hope you don't have to endure this sort of thing, and you know, I hope you got something out of the video. Bye.